Hollywood has its fair share of romances, but to this day, it is the belief of many that Melanie Johnny Brown and Eddie Murphy had one of the most short-lived, high-profile relationships out of the lot. That short 6-month time period had them fall in love, made plans to get married, realized that they were about to have a baby, and eventually it all ended. Even with all of this drama, Mel claims to this day that Eddie was her greatest love. So, with the high standard that Mel B is holding her ex-boyfriend at, what exactly caused the breakup? Let's find out together. Greetings, salutations, and welcome to our channel. Today we are here to cover the reason as to why the Hollywood power couple Eddie Murphy and Mel B went from their poetic love to voodoo shamans in order to ruin one another's lives. As always, before we begin, make sure to press that like button and subscribe to support our channel so we can bring you more quality stories like this. Also, if you don't want to miss out on a single one of our uploads, press the bell notification button and turn on YouTube notifications on your smartphone. To see the turbulent relationship for what it is, we must first look into where it all began. Let's take a look back into August 2005, where Eddie's ex-wife, Nicole Murphy, filed for divorce after being married to one another for 12 years. Even after the breakup from someone who you have spent 12 years of your life with, it didn't take long for Eddie to move on. There were rumors circulating around Eddie linking up with Mariah Carey, Robin Givens, and television personality Sean Robinson. During this time period, on the other end of the spectrum, Mel B was just starting out her career as she was making a name for herself. She also had to deal with a fair share of her own problems as well, and in 2005, she was divorced after 5 years of being married to a Spice Girls backup dancer named Jimmy Gulzar. It was also well known that the couple shared a daughter named Phoenix. However, things were getting increasingly confusing to the public after a segment from an interview in Entertainment Weekly was published, where a woman named Christa Parker had claimed that Mel B had seduced her. However, it seemed that Christa Parker was not the only woman she had been into. After all, it was reported that Mel was in a relationship for about 2 years, with a film executive named Christine. The couple was even spotted by the paparazzi when they were sharing a kiss. As the questions piled up, Mel B quickly told everyone where she stood in all of this. She claimed that she didn't care how other people saw her preference as. In a classy manner, she also added, "But I know who is on my bed, and that's it." When the relationship between Mel and Christine broke, after some time had passed, she was immediately reached out to by people from Eddie's office. Even if a meetup was scheduled, it was later revealed in the mirror that Mel was a bit too uncomfortable at the thought of going out for dinner with him all alone. Because of this, she eventually came with an idea, asking Eddie to instead host a dinner party in his house. Of course, Eddie being Eddie absolutely loved this. After all, his house is filled with random people on a regular basis. Mel B once recollected her first day at the mansion, as she clearly remembered the place being packed with all sorts of people. After going on a bit of a search, she finally makes eye contact with Eddie across the room and sparks fly. She further elaborated, "But then I freaked out, because I had never had somebody look at me like that." Flustered, she ran into the washroom in order to calm herself down before coming out and claiming to Eddie that she had someplace else to be, due to a sudden event invitation at a certain hotel. However, Eddie was having none of that, as he immediately made the choice to book a big table at the restaurant of the mentioned hotel and moved his entire dinner party there. All of it done just to be closer to Mel. When they arrived at the hotel, she was even more flustered as she immediately made her way to the restroom. This time, Eddie decided to even follow her to ensure her safety and to make sure that she didn't just up and leave. He waited outside for her, outside the door, and brought her back to the dinner table when she was done. The very next morning, Mel received a call from Eddie, where he asked her, "Do you mind if I see you every day for a few days? But I don't like going out, so will you come to my house?" By now, Mel's nervous tangents have gone away, so she agreed to the proposition. The two became close instantly, as she even described the two of them as two little excitable kids. When they spent time together in his Beverly Hills mansion, they passed the time watching old Elvis Presley and Richard Pryor movies. Eddie also talked about his past with her, revealing his time at the projects and how it was to grow up in foster care. In her memoir, Mel goes into great detail about the kingdom of Eddie and what he had made up for himself. His home had everything he needed. Stevie Wonder would stop by to play the piano, and Denzel Washington was a regular guest. Every night at 6 p.m, Eddie's personal chef would prepare a lavish feast for everyone. It did not take long for Eddie to start considering Mel B as part of his inner circle, and he immediately started being generous with her. He gave her the opportunity to be chauffeured around in his Rolls Royce and even gave her a credit card to use, claiming that he would be happy if she used it. However, Mel claimed that she gave it back to him in a few weeks. Of course, that didn't stop Eddie on his tracks, as he ended up telling her that he wanted her to get married with him and have a child together after a few weeks of meeting her. Eventually, they got so close that they even got matching tattoos on their upper thighs. As 6 weeks passed, they decided to try their hand at getting intimate. To prepare for the special occasion, Mel went out and got herself a green, see-through undergarment with cherries embroidered on them. When she elaborated on their first time together, she said, "It was like poetry, every touch, every kiss, every sense, out of this world." Every morning, Eddie made sure to tell Mel that she was incredible and that she was the most beautiful woman in the world. He sure knew how to make the woman in his life feel special. He wanted to make her his wife without any delay whatsoever. He went ahead and invited Mel's father from the UK as he booked a dining room at one of the most popular upscale hotels in Beverly Hills. He went ahead and asked her father if he could have his daughter's hand in marriage, and of course, it being Eddie Murphy himself, her dad immediately said yes. Mel claimed that she was filled with happiness when her dad said yes, because she had already taken the liberty to design the most beautiful wedding ring from Cartier. They went ahead and planned their wedding dates to be on Christmas 2006. As the months passed and the days led up to the wedding, Mel spoke to the mirror and claimed that Eddie had never hesitated to make her happy. She recalled one occasion where she asked him to take her away for the weekend. In just a few hours' notice, Eddie had already booked a private jet for the both of them to fly off to Mexico. Mel further goes on to reveal in her memoir that she got pregnant in Mexico, and they were both super happy at the thought of having a child together. However, their beautiful romance was not meant to be. Eddie was growing more and more controlling. She even commented that she was rarely expected to leave the house. When she wants to get a breath of fresh air by going out for a coffee, Eddie would instead ask someone in his staff to go and get it for her instead. Mel claimed that she found it unbearable to stay in Eddie's mansion due to how crowded it was. People were always around, and she knew very well that a lot of Eddie's friends had some not so nice things to say about her. They ended up assuming Mel's choices, as they even called her to be nothing more than a gold digger. If that wasn't enough, there were even reports of fights taking place between her and Eddie's mother. Over time, Mel began to hate the strict rules Eddie had placed around her. She realized that her privacy was non-existent. On one particular occasion that she recalled, she purchased some tampons for herself, only for the purchase to be reported back to Eddie. She even claimed that Eddie had people watching her during her nights out with friends. He even insisted on booking her the flights she needed to go wherever she needed to go. She went ahead and said, "Nothing was really in my control. I knew I could never like this and be a part of Eddie's kingdom." In order to have a semblance of calmness in her life, she suggested to Eddie that they should purchase a house to stay separate from the mansion, which was always jam-packed with his friends. However, Eddie was quick to say no, and this was when Mel had finally had enough. It was reported that Mel quickly packed and moved out of the house. The reports further continued that Mel believed that Eddie would come to his senses and come for her. She jetted off to London in order to calm herself down, as Eddie attempted to get in contact with her multiple times. However, Eddie was quick to move on, as he took the separation as a sign that their relationship could never work. It didn't take long for Eddie to make appearances on red carpets with another woman in his hands, Tracy Edmonds. While Tracy's divorce with Babyface was still pending, it was said that she and Eddie had began being together for over a month and a half now. Mel, invigorated by all of this, decided to fight back. However, it was reported that Mel turned to some rather obscure methods to win her man back. She apparently met up with a Spanish voodoo priestess named Tabitha. Mel apparently took part in a ritual where she wrote down the names of all those involved in her situation as she placed the paper and her undergarments along with a pair of Eddie's boxes in a jar. The jar was then later buried. April 3rd, 2007 marked the day when Mel gave birth to her child, Angel. The date happened to coincide with Eddie's 46th birthday. During this time, Eddie and Tracy were already engaged. While a DNA test proved that the child was indeed Eddie's, he did not seem interested in being involved. Eventually, Eddie and Tracy got married, only to break up once again 2 weeks later. Who knows? Maybe there's something behind the voodoo stuff after all. Later on, Mel found herself moving on from all of this in 2007, as she met Stefan Belafonte. She told The Guardian that they got married after dating for just 2 months. With Eddie's lack of concern for Angel, Stefan ended up being the best father figure he could be instead. Of course, later on in 2017, Angel managed to have a real relationship with her father, and she also received all the love and attention Eddie shows his other 9 children as well. Angel was given an opportunity to attend the same school as Eddie's other kids in order to have a good scholar experience. Eventually, due to a toxic relationship, Mel divorced Stefan and was forced to pay him $40,000 per month in temporary spousal support, as well as $5,000 per month in child support. Even while still being single, Mel claims that her heart still belongs to Eddie. She claimed that he would always be the greatest love of her life. When she was asked if she hoped for a reconciliation, she respectfully said no, due to Eddie's current relationship with Paige Butcher. While Mel and Eddie eventually got to a better place as co-parents, COVID changed that. In October 2020, Us Weekly revealed that Mel went to court asking for an increase to her $25,000 per month child support. She claimed that the reason was due to her income being low during the pandemic, and that Eddie had stopped his contributions towards Angel's educational future. All we can hope for is the two of them are able to work things out for their daughter's sake in the future. We've now reached the end of today's video. Did you like this story? For more interesting stories just like this, subscribe to our channel and press the bell button to get an update every single time we upload a new video. Make sure to like this video and share it with your friends and family. Thanks for watching, and see you all next time.